So this is the thing. This is where you have to make a choice. If this tire comes in contact with this tab, well, then you got to get rid of it.
Hey, Leo's here. Love this car. Today we cover everything you need to know to rolling fenders on your GTI. This is when Leo rolled the fenders on my 350Z. He also did my Subaru, but we want to avoid chipped paint, pulling down fenders. Leo came down and did the Subaru about a year ago or so, and I realized that every car is a little bit different, and that's what's nice about having a professional like him who does a lot of cars on a regular basis. So we're taking a stock GTI, we're throwing some wheels on it, and then some tires, suspension, we're going to lower it, and then when you hit bumps, you're going to hear some noises that you aren't expecting to hear. Could be scrapes, tire sounds. Usually it's the tire rubbing the inside of the fender, and once you roll it, you don't have an issue. So we're going to break that all down, go over all the details you need to know, and Leo's going to show us the way.
It's just that this is the thing. This is where you have to make a choice. If this tire comes in contact with this tab, well, then you got to get rid of the tab, right? But if you get rid of that tab, well, you got to get rid of that bolt. That bolt just helps hold this bumper to the car. But as long as you like shave down all this flat, then it doesn't really need it. If this bolt wasn't in there right now, and for some reason you rubbed on this, and this, all that would do without a bolt is this would just kind of pop out and just kind of look, it would just be sticking out. Like, it's not a huge deal. But if you get rid of all of that so that there's nothing to rub on,
you can touch anything all day.
Yeah, you can't push this out because it's there's nothing to hit to push it out. That's one thing that you have to decide, because if you can see here, like the lip is really, like I said, a V, but at the very beginning it's a I forgot, it's an L. So it goes from an L to a V, but it's a sharp, L, 90-degree angle. So I like to kind of like roll these up a little bit out of the way. And then right here, if you look at this bolt, it's silver now.
Oh,
all the paint rubbed off. Because if you look at this back one, this one's still black, but this one, all the paint rubbed off on the bolt, so you're rubbing on it. And then this one's still black, so you're actually not rubbing on that one. I mean, it's just kind of where the wheel sits, so that's why that's like that. In order to roll these fenders, you have to remove these screws, torque screws, a T25, out of the fender liner. It holds the fender liner in place. Otherwise, if you leave these screws in here, when you go to roll, you're gonna have the pointy end of the screw pointing out through the fender, so it'll look pretty bad. You remove the screws, then you remove the plastic pieces that hold them in there, and you just feel with your fingers and you're good to go. You gotta remove this one. Even when it does do that, at the end, I can just kind of try to push it back in as much as possible to not make it look so pulled out. Most cars, when I do these, they have like already wheels that they got the low offset wheels, and so it doesn't matter. But since you're sticking, these are just flush, they're just flush to the car.
What goes on in your head when you're heating something up without going too far?
Okay, so my gauge is you just put the back of your hand, okay? Like right there, it's pretty much perfect. I just feel it like that. I'm gonna go a little hotter, but yeah, I just feel with the back of my fingers, because that skin is.
Should it be warm or hot?
No, it's hot.
Like,
if you have a temperature reader, 140 degrees.
Okay.
That's where we need it at. I've done so many of these that I know what it feels like.
Well, I'm asking, what does it feel like? Does it like burning where if you left your hand there, it would hurt?
Yeah, it would hurt. I mean, that hurt. I don't ever do that.
Right, no. Just so they know how hot to go,
Yeah, no, yeah, you don't,
It just needs to be hot.
Yeah,
not warm, it needs to be hot.
As soon as, if your natural reaction would be like, oh, it's hot, like that.
Okay.
But if it's warm, that's not hot enough. But you gotta be careful with your fender liners. On some cars, especially Japanese cars, they start to melt right away. This is German, so it's got probably a different material. I don't know. Otherwise, like on my STI, this would already be melting for how long I had it on there. And this is always the key with rolling fenders is making sure that they're hot enough. And that just gives you the best chance at not cracking the paint where you roll it. But it's not even a guarantee even with this. It's just your best shot though at not cracking the paint. I already set up my angle on the roller prior to heating it up. And we're just rolling up that 90-degree angle there at the beginning of this fender on the MK7, just like that. And that's rolled. It's got a little dimple here, but I'll fix that with the next roll. So now with that, I'm just gonna go straight to a flat position on the roller. Basically, on a normal fender, you would start somewhere like here to roll. That way you get that L to start going up. Okay, so you have a 90-degree angle and you start rolling it, it ends up with like that. Then you go down a little more. Okay, so now your angle was like that, but then you roll it and it ends up like that. And then sometimes you can go all the way, so now you're like this, and then with this it pretty much, you know, makes it nice and flat, depending on the car. Okay. All right, let's heat up the whole thing and go all the way. And actually, I'll be honest, dude, most cars have the same design on front fenders. It's always a little V. It's never really a right angle. It's always a little V. So it's like a lot of people hit me up. I think my fenders are already rolled. And like, you know, I tell them like, oh no, that's how they come from factory. All right, so now we heated up the fender. We're gonna go ahead and start rolling that lip up, okay? Now on front fenders, you can see that it kind of, rolling the fender pretty much kind of pulls them out, because the front fenders are just super, like, not flexible, but they're not as strong or sturdy as like a, you know, rear fender. But we should be able to kind of push this pull a little bit in so it's not so dramatic. But it's just kind of how it goes with these front fenders sometimes.
Is it already rolled flat?
It's pretty much rolled flat. I can go a little flatter, but we're not going to.
Yeah, no reason. Oh, yeah, that's nice.
It's not like this anymore. It's this.
Yeah, it's all.
But
I
mean,
it's closed.
If we needed to, I could squeeze that back of that lip to the fender. I could just close it.
Right.
I think we're gonna leave it here though.
No, that's gonna be plenty good.
Yeah, I'm honestly, like, with these cars, I'm more worried about the tab, rubbing on this tab like we were talking about earlier than anything, but there's no sign of it yet. If anything, like, I know Cameron, I know you're able to, it's up to you, we could do it, but I know that you're able to, as long as I tell you exactly what you need to grind away, and you're able to do that.
Yeah, for sure.
Make sure you put your safety glasses on and go. I love that tool. The grinder tool is my favorite tool. So this one's pretty much done, man. With a pull, like as I was saying, when you roll in the front fenders on GTIs, or most cars actually, because the fender is just like, it's not super sturdy, you get a little bit of a pull, okay? Now to take this away, to kind of help take it away, once you roll that lip flat, you could just put your palms over your hands on the fender, and with very gently, but with some strength, you just kind of push it back in. And it's not gonna push it in completely OEM, but it does kind of push it back in a little bit. So just to kind of like not have it be so dramatic, especially if you don't need it to be.
It mainly softens up this transition right here.
Exactly.
So it's not noticeable.
Exactly. That's good, Cameron. Yes, it softens up that transition. So it blends more. I call it blending.
Yeah, blending.
But
yeah,
I like
that's even better.
Okay. Yeah.
So like, it was obnoxious right here where the fender came to the bumper, but now it just looks like it's a normal curve.
Yeah.
Moving to the rear of this car, there actually is no modifications needed. I just looked at it with Leo. I thought I heard noises in the back, but there is one tab in particular right here that you're going to see that I was worried about, but I found out that only the fronts were making noise and rubbing. The rears with this wheel and tire setup, I had no issues. If you want to know the wheel specs, it is in the new wheel video. You can find everything in the description. So we finished it up, bolted all together, get the other side done, and the car's good now. If you're in the Phoenix Valley and you want to have Leo come out, I have his information in the description as well as on screen right now. Reach out to him, let him know what car you have, year, make, and model, and he can get back to you right away. And you can go to his house, get this done properly. If you guys want to do it yourself, or you're not in the Phoenix Valley, you can grab yourself an Eastwood fender rolling tool. Just Google search it. I'll have one linked in the description below as well. Hope you're able to take away and exactly understand fender rolling and why you do it and how it's done. Appreciate you guys. See you in the next video.